Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on an exploration of a subject that's, well, often cloaked in misunderstanding. Lots of sensational headlines.
Mm-hmm. Modern witchcraft and Wicca.
Exactly. But we're going to approach it through a really unique lens. Stewart Farrar's personal journey, his candid observations, captured in his book, What Witches Do.
It's a remarkable text. It really is. Because Farrar, he wasn't just an outside observer. He actually became an initiated witch himself.
Right.
His book, which first came out in '71, landed at such a crucial time. It offered this insider's view, mixing a broad look at modern Wiccan beliefs and practices with his own, often quite fresh, quite vulnerable reactions as he learned them.
Yeah, it feels very immediate.
It does. It's a rare look behind the veil, really designed to sort of cut through the noise and get to the heart of the craft.
And that's exactly our mission with this deep dive. You, our listener, you're here to move past the superficial stuff, right? To get to the core of these complex subjects, maybe even find some of those aha moments. So we'll pull out the most important insights from Farrar's journey, try to strip away those stereotypes that just hang around, and explore the surprising, nuanced reality behind modern Wicca, but based only on his firsthand counts, his interpretations.
That's key. Sticking to what he observed and experienced.
Yeah. It's about getting a clear, structured understanding of this spiritual path that, despite its public image, really resonates with quite a few people looking for something deeper.
A real connection.
Okay, so let's begin right where Stewart Farrar's own unexpected journey kicked off. He was a journalist, right?
That's right. And in late 1969, his editor sent him to, well, a rather unusual press preview for a film called Legend of the Witches.
Which wasn't their usual beat, film reviews.
Not at all. But the big draw was that the king of the witches himself, Alex Sanders, and his wife Maxine, they were involved with the film, advisors, even appeared in it. They were going to be there.
Oh, okay.
And the editor, sensing something, had this hunch there might be a story. So off Farrar went.
And this was really a key moment, wasn't it? Not just for Farrar, but for Alex Sanders getting known.
Absolutely pivotal. Alex was just starting to get significant media attention then. Lots of curiosity, sometimes, frankly, scandal.
And Farrar's first impressions, they're quite detailed.
They are. He describes Alex as a slim, balding man in his early 40s, wearing dark glasses, answering questions in a soft northern voice, giving these quick, humorous smiles.
Not necessarily what you might picture.
Maybe not. And Maxine, she made just as strong an impression. Taller than Alex and 20 years younger, he says, a striking figure with long blonde hair and a diaphanous white gown. She looked a very believable witch, according to Farrar.
So these specifics, they really paint a picture, don't they? Cuts through stereotypes right away.
Very human. And Farrar, being a good journalist, he did his homework before the interview.
Right. He read that biography of Alex.
King of the Witches, by June Johns. Found it an absorbing account of an extraordinary man. But what really grabbed Farrar, it wasn't just a book. It was his direct experience of Alex's, well, supposed psychic abilities.
Ah, this is the prediction story.
Yes. After chatting about clairvoyance, Farrar, still skeptical, asked Alex to tell him something personal. And Alex's response was incredibly specific.
What did he say again?
Something like, in the next month or two, you're going to make about 500 pounds or 600 pounds from a freelance assignment. Something to do with law or the police.
Wow, that is specific.
Extremely. And what's striking is how concrete it seemed to Farrar. At that moment, Farrar couldn't think of anything on his plate that fit.
But then,
just a few weeks later, totally out of the blue, he gets commissioned to write an episode for a TV series, Special Branch.
Which is law and police work.
Exactly. And the fee, 550 pounds.
Almost spot on.
Right. Not some vague fortune cookie stuff. A specific, concrete prediction that came true. That kind of direct hit? Well, it clearly made a huge impression on Farrar, made him want to dig deeper.
And Alex Sanders himself, despite the controversy around him, he actually had a clear view on publicity, didn't he? Quite different from others in the craft back then.
He did. He seemed to believe it clears away the fog of misunderstanding. His view was that at least the tip of the iceberg should be plainly and accurately visible if people wanted to look.
Like, let people see for themselves.
Pretty much. His motto was, "He that hath ears to hear, let him hear." He felt that true understanding was an inner thing.
So even if you told everything,
he claimed only those who are ready to understand will understand, and you could tell it all and still give nothing away, implying layers of meaning, accessible only if you're sort of spiritually ready.
Okay, so Farrar wrote his first articles. They went down well. But then he hit a wall creatively.
Not quite a wall, more realization. He understood that if his own book was going to have any real depth, any value, just watching from the sidelines wasn't cutting it.
He had to be in it.
He said it plainly. I had to be inside. And this wasn't a casual decision for him. He had a Christian upbringing, then Marxism, atheism, settled into being an interested agnostic.
So Wicca wasn't an obvious next step.
Not at all. But after just a few weeks of studying it, he felt drawn in. He said, it seemed to meet my individual spiritual needs. Crucially, without the stumbling blocks he found in the church.
What really pulled him in then?
It was the promise of a technique, he called it, for tapping those areas of the human psyche he knew existed, but thought were, inaccessible except to a psychically lucky few.
So unlocking potential.
Exactly. That personal connection, that sense of potential, that's key to why he went all in.
It makes sense. That desire to connect with something deeper, explore your own potential. It's pretty universal.
It really is. And his willingness not just to watch, but to commit to experience it from the inside. That's what makes his account so valuable. It's more than curiosity. It's a deep personal immersion.
It demanded participation.
The vulnerable participation.
Yeah. And that immersion started, like for many, with initiation. He opens the book with this incredibly vivid scene.
He really pulls you in.
He's in a London flat, standing naked and blindfolded, wrists bound behind him with red cord looped around his neck, holding his arms up in a triangle shape.
Yeah.
And before this, he'd been told what to bring: red wine and a black-handled knife. He even jerks about how hard it was to find the right knife. Ended up using a Bowie knife and spray painting the handle black.
Huh. That's such a human detail. It grounds the whole thing, doesn't it? It's not just mystical woo-woo. It's practical, relatable.
Totally. He describes the sounds, just bare feet, the clink of ritual objects, the smells, incense, his own nervous sweat.
Sensory overload almost.
And this feeling of being undated, like it could be the 16th century. Then, just for a second, panic hits him.
Understandable.
He thinks, what do I really know about these people? I'm helpless here. What are they actually going to do?
Right. That moment of vulnerability.
But he catches himself. Realizes the fear is irrational, like his historical daydream. He understands the ordeals are symbolic. It's about an inner process.
That internal shift is so important. The ordeal isn't just external, it's psychological, spiritual. It starts with mastering that inner fear.
So as the ritual goes on, he starts mentally picturing the space. A 9-foot circle, candles at the 4 points, an altar at the north.
Loaded with tools.
Yeah, a white-handled knife, a wand, a scourge, which he notes was made with very unsadistic embroidery silk, adding that bit of humor again.
He does that a lot, punctures the potential seriousness. It keeps it grounded.
Also a pentacle, censer, salt, water, the chalice with his wine, and his own athame, his main tool. And on the floor, a sword and the hereditary Book of Shadows.
The one he'd have to copy later.
Exactly, by hand.
That detail about the unsadistic scourge is subtle but key, isn't it? It immediately hints that these tools are symbolic, not about literal harm. Steers you away from those lurid stereotypes.
Definitely. And the other coven members, they're waiting outside the circle, naked like him, except the high priest and priestess. He notes the rule, you shall be naked in your rites, but also mentions personal choice for things like periods, practicality matters.
Flexibility within the structure.
And the high priest wears a red robe. Then, silence. The high priestess uses a sword to cast the circle, leaving a specific gateway in the northeast for him.
That gateway. It's not just an entrance, is it? It's symbolic, too. Even in creating this sacred space, there's a planned entry point. Shows how structured it all is. Purposeful.
Then she speaks, blessing the circle. O thou circle, be thou a meeting place of love and joy and truth, a shield against all wickedness and evil, and so on. He says he feels less blind as she speaks, like her words give him inner sight.
Wow.
Then he feels cold water spray the ritual sprinkling, smells the incense, sees the glow of a candle being circled around. Then she declares, blade, water, incense, fire, the circle is ready.
That sequence: blade, water, incense, fire. It's foundational, isn't it?
Yeah.
Elemental purification. You find it in lots of traditions. It's about cleansing the space, making it potent for the work ahead. A real sensory immersion.
And then the coven members enter, one by one, through that gateway. Each man kissed by the high priestess, each woman by the high priest, right on the threshold.
Emphasizing that polarity.
And to woman, woman to man, the law of every ritual of the craft, he says. Then the high priestess invokes the watchtowers, the elemental guardians. He lords of the watchtowers of the east. And so on, for south, west, north. setting the spiritual boundaries.
Calling in the guardians, that's very traditional ceremonial magic. Shows how Wicca draws on different streams, creates this protective, potent space. It's energetic, not just physical.
Then they chant eco, eco 3 times. After that, the high priest addresses Farrar, starting this big teaching. Listen to the words of the Great Mother, listing all her ancient names: Artemis, Astarte, Isis.
Connecting to that deep history.
Then the high priestess takes up the charge, which is a core Wiccan text. Starts with, whenever you have need of anything once in the month, and better it be when the moon is full, then shall ye assemble.
And her voice, Farrar describes it as musical, young, and mature at the same time. That helps him connect her intuitively with the goddess she's invoking.
Yeah, it makes the goddess feel present. Phrases like, I am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon among the stars. It paints this picture of the goddess being in everything.
Immanent, yeah. And the source of everything, too. From me all things proceed, and unto me all things must return. It's a deeply interconnected, almost ecological worldview.
And the charge also gives ethical guidance. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence within you. Powerful stuff.
Very. Sets a high standard.
After that, he takes the oath, repeating it phrase by phrase. I, John, do of my own free will solemnly swear that I will ever keep secret the secrets of the art, except it be to a proper person, properly prepared.
The secrecy clause. Very important.
And he swears, by my hopes of a future life, knowing his measure has been taken. And the kicker, may my weapons turn against me if I break this my sacred oath.
That phrase, may my weapons turn against me, that's really insightful. It points to a kind of self-regulating karma within the craft, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Break the oath, and the consequences are internal, self-inflicted. It puts huge emphasis on personal integrity.
Absolutely. Then his cords are untied, blindfold off, the high priestess smiles. Then comes the 5-fold kiss.
Symbolic act.
Blessed be thy feet, thy knees, thy phallus, thy breasts, and thy lips. You know, she's a shapely girl, almost as tall as he. And the high priest, anticipating maybe some awkwardness about the nudity, makes this cheerful comment about erections. Says, they sometimes happen, we don't take any notice, they soon get over it. Which is just wonderfully down to earth.
That really speaks to the atmosphere, doesn't it? Open, accepting.
Totally. It demystifies the nudity. It's about embracing the body as sacred, fostering intimacy and trust, not sensationalism.
Connects the physical and spiritual.
Exactly. Finally, he's presented with his tools. Athame, scourge, cords, and the high priestess salutes him. And now, I salute thee, newly made priest and witch.
So that whole initiation is packed with symbolism. But what about that old saying, only a witch can make a witch? Farrar has thoughts on that, right?
He does. He says it's basically been made obsolete by developments. The interest in witchcraft grew so fast, existing covens just couldn't keep up with initiation.
Practical reality kicked in.
Yeah. So self-initiated groups started popping up. He even points to books like Doreen Valiente's Witchcraft for Tomorrow and his own The Witch's Way as guides for people wanting to self-initiate.
That shows real adaptability, doesn't it? A living tradition willing to evolve when old rules become barriers for sincere seekers. It's not stuck in the past.
So given that adaptability and the different ways people enter, how diverse is the craft today? Farrar talks about different sects or traditions.
He does, meticulously. First, you've got hereditary witches. People who claim direct family lines, keeping the craft alive for generations, often orally. Farrar knew of a few families, but says they keep themselves to themselves. Very private.
Hard to verify, I guess.
Relies a lot on personal testimony. Then you have the traditions that became more public in the 20th century.
Like the Gardnerians.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Gardnerians, tracing back to Gerald Gardner, he was initiated by a hereditary witch, Daffo, and really spearheaded the revival in the 40s and 50s. Wrote books, started a museum, though Farrar says that's defunct now.
And he got some flack for being public.
He did. Criticized by old witches for courting publicity, which is ironic because Alexander's got the exact same criticism later. Shows that tension about visibility has been around a long time.
And then the Alexandrians, which was Farrar's tradition.
Yes, Alexandrians. Initiated directly or indirectly through Alex or Maxine Sanders. They often share Alex's specific rituals and teachings, which blended Gardnerian stuff with his own innovations.
Any others he mentions?
Briefly, traditionals, who tend to wear robes, keep to themselves. He admits he doesn't have first-hand experience there. But importantly, Farrar clarifies that some things he first thought were universal Wicca, like using the god name Carnona instead of Cernunnos, or combining second and third degree initiations, were actually purely Alexandrian.
Ah, Okay, so not all Wicca is the same.
Not at all. And this leads him to emphasize a core principle. Every coven is entitled to follow its own judgment. That really highlights the diversity, the non-dogmatic nature of Wicca. Personal experience and coven autonomy are key.
Okay, so we've seen the initiation, the different paths, but what's underneath it all? What do modern witches actually believe? Farrar is clear, Wicca is a religion.
And a very old one, in his view. The oldest religion on earth, he claims, underlying all others, and in no way incompatible with their essence.
Which sounds very inclusive.
Extremely. His example is striking. Alex and Maxine initiated Christian ministers into the craft from more than one denomination.
Wow, that really makes the point.
It does. And Farrar connects this idea of an underlying unity to history. He mentions the French occultist Papus, who argued ancient priests knew only one religion existed. Public forms were just translations for different cultures.
Unlike today's sectarian struggles.
Exactly. Wicca's approach seems much more inclusive, syncretic. Different paths, same fundamental truth.
And at the heart of Wiccan belief, he says, are two main deities, the horned god and the mother goddess.
Precisely. The horned god, he traces this concept way back, as old as man's ability to personify ideas. Late Paleolithic, like the cave paintings. He sees this figure evolving from a revered animal totem for hunters to a symbol of divinity, even influencing Christian art maybe with the rayed halo.
And the mother goddess.
Just as fundamental as inevitable a concept. Humanity naturally formed this duality, he suggests. Active, fertilizing male, passive, fertile, nurturing female. He points out the church tried hard to banish her, but failed look at all the lady chapels dedicated to Mary. Shows that enduring human need for the divine feminine.
Which brings up a huge point, given history. The horned god is not the devil, right? That's a massive misconception.
Absolutely crucial clarification. Farrar tackles it head on. He says any Satanist covens, if they exist, are not witches but a sick fringe, basically victims of centuries-old church propaganda.
Propaganda even Christians don't buy anymore.
Right. He sees the witch trials victims mostly as innocent scapegoats or caught in local feuds, dismissing official records as biased. He does admit the persecution led to some degeneracy and malice creeping into the craft back then, but stresses it was an aberration, born of desperation, not inherent to Wicca.
And he even uses biblical translation to support the god-goddess idea.
Yeah, points to the Hebrew Elohim, feminine noun, masculine plural ending, suggesting god and goddess, and he quotes Dion Fortune. A goddessless religion is halfway to atheism. Really emphasizes the need for balance, for both divine principles.
So if these are the core deities, how does this shape how witches see reality itself? It's not just the physical world.
Definitely not. It's a much more complex, layered view, based on multiple planes of existence, drawing from Kabbalah. At the very top, there's Ein Safar, the unknowable, ultimate, limitless light, beyond our grasp, but the source of everything.
The absolute source.
Then the spiritual plane, where the god and goddess manifest, along with other spirit beings, human souls. Below that, the mental plane, thoughts, ideas, concepts linked to the soul during life.
Closer to our experience, but still subtle.
Exactly. Then the astral plane, less tangible than physical, explored in astral projection. Realm of emotions, dreams, symbols, can be subdivided. Higher, lower astral, etheric. And finally, the physical plane, our world, body, matter. Solids, liquids, gases. It's a vast spectrum of consciousness and existence.
This layered reality leads to another core idea, polarity and analogy. How does that work?
For a witch, Farrar explains, everything is this web of balancing opposites. Positive, negative, male, female, light, dark. The universe needs these counterweights to exist. He says it's similar to a modern scientist's view of forces in equilibrium.
But not simplistic, right? Not just male is positive, female is negative.
No, he warns against that. It's a dynamic, interlocking network in constant flux. Something that might be active physically, but receptive spiritually, and vice versa. It's complex.
And Pan, the horned god, is a symbol of this integration.
A perfect symbol, yeah. Embodies the whole range. Animal vigor, hooves on earth, human intelligence, music, art. Represents the witch's embrace of the whole spectrum.
Not rejecting any part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Unlike ascetics who reject flesh, or others who see it as illusion, witches joyously embrace it all. He quotes the Muslim idea. The world is the cloak of Allah. Spirit and matter need each other. And this complex view, he says, informs all the practical stuff in the craft.
Okay, so let's get practical. How do these beliefs translate into the actual work? Farrar defines witchcraft quite simply, doesn't he?
He does, as the raising and manipulation of psychic power, And he points out this isn't just fantasy. Psychic stuff, telepathy, precognition, it's seriously investigated by universities, governments, Pentagon, Kremlin. They're trying to get a handle on it.
Trying to make it usable.
Right. And Alexander's made a pretty bold claim here. He said, every single person who accepts initiation and works conscientiously achieves clairvoyance within weeks or months.
Suggesting it's trainable, not just a rare gift.
Exactly. Inherent in everyone if you approach it with dedication and discipline. It's quite an empowering idea, really. Democratizes psychic potential.
So if it's trainable, how do you start? The magic circle seems central.
Fundamental. It has that dual function, concentration and protection. It's both infinity and the focus within infinity, space to expand mentally, and a shield against all wickedness and evil. Creates a safe container.
And he traces its history way back.
Yeah, calls churches, mosques, synagogues its first cousins, and Stonehenge, Avebury, its ancestors. Universal need for sacred space. And he points out magic circle is a bit wrong. It's conceptually a magic sphere. The circle is just where it meets the ground.
What do you need to cast one? How's it done?
Basic kit. 4 candles, sword or athame, pentacle, bowl of water, salt, censer, incense. Size varies tiny for solo work, huge for festivals, or just room size for a coven.
Who casts it?
Anyone can do it alone. If 2 or more, and a woman's present, she usually does. For the coven, it's the high priestess's job.
And the process itself sounds very deliberate.
It is. Light candles at cardinal points, turn off artificial lights, light incense, then consecrate the water and salt-specific formulas using the athame to exorcise impurities, bless the salt as spiritual antiseptic. You strike a pentagram in the air over them.
Imbuing intent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then the high priestess walks diosel clockwise, invoking the watchtowers at each point. To finish, when dissolving the circle, you trace the banishing pentagram widdershins anti-clockwise and recite a formula. Very precise, ensuring the space is purified, charged, then safely closed down.
So this power isn't just mystical fog. It manifests. It's developed. Farrar says Wicca teaches transfer of awareness to levels of reality beyond the physical.
Right. Clairvoyance, trance, astral projection, they're all forms of this transfer. And he's very clear. They are all hard work and have to be learned, not automatic.
And being a practical guy, he worries about distinguishing real vision from hallucination.
Very much so. Stresses common sense and a working knowledge of psychological mechanics are a great help. Plus, guidance from experienced people. He recommends Dion Fortune's psychic self-defense for navigating these states safely. Even in the mystical, discipline is key.
So it's not just seeing things, it's understanding them, staying grounded. How do you develop these skills?
He details practical concentration exercises, like holding a thought train or a single static image for longer and longer periods, using a kitchen timer even.
Very practical.
He found 3D images like a rose, easier to hold than 2D symbols. Shows the subtleties involved.
And that know thyself exercise, the astral psychomirrors.
That's fascinating. You list your faults and good qualities, then categorize them by element, fire, air, water, earth, and by severity. Alexander's goal for this was magical equilibrium. A deep, honest look at yourself.
Really systematic self-analysis.
Farrar even suggests using a loose-leaf notebook with index cards, blending self-reflection with a magical framework.
For new witches, especially in intense covens like Alex's, he talks about the working hypothesis. What's that about?
It's pragmatic learning. You get complex, esoteric stuff you can't immediately prove. A good teacher, like Alex, doesn't demand blind faith. They say, accept them as working hypotheses for now, until you find out whether they work for you.
Learn by doing.
Exactly. Farrar found notes suddenly made sense weeks or months later through experience. Practical validation is what matters, not just intellectual agreement.
And he mentions a specific tool, the witch's ladder.
Yeah, simple but effective. A green cord, 40 knots, used for auto-suggestion, as example. If colleague Jim stresses you out, your wish might be, Jim cannot disturb me.
How do you use it?
Before sleep. Upon waking, maybe during the night, you repeat the wish for each knot, visualizing it happening. Imprint it on the subconscious. Alex advised using it only for personality-stuff confidence, less stress, not external things like lottery wins. Focus on internal change first.
Okay, connecting this to the bigger picture. What about actual spells? How do they really work?
Farrar is emphatic.
Yeah.
Witches don't think physical actions automatically work. The object needle's wax image is just a symbol, a focal point.
It's not the object itself doing the magic.
No. He uses a great car analogy. Willpower is the fuel. The object is the map, channel for concentration. The circle and coven are the engine, amplifying power. Ritual is the transmission, clarifying, directing. And the cone of power that focused energy raised by chanting or dancing is the rotary force.
So you need all the parts working together.
Exactly. Given an accurate map, pure fuel, and a sound car, the driver gets where he wants. It's all about directed, amplified intention and energy.
So the physical stuff is secondary. What about specific spells he saw?
Love spells, for instance. 2 needles, man and woman, point to eye, bound with thread of the right planetary color. Symbolizes union. Then you add intense emotion, maybe rhyming words to focus the will.
Do the exact words matter?
Farrar quotes the Book of Shadows. Exact words matter little if the intent be clear and you raise the true power. He even makes up a rhyme on the spot to show it's personal. Ethics, though, are up to the coven. Is it encouraging something mutual or manipulating free will? Big difference.
Candle spells seem common, too.
Very. Chart a candle mentally, wrap it in planetary color paper, give it to the person to burn at the right planetary hour. Another healing one, stick a needle named for the patient in a candle's side. As it burns down, healing power is released.
And the wax image, probably the most famous and misunderstood.
Definitely. Farrar says they're primarily concentration channels. Yes, used maliciously historically, but in white covens, used for healing or restraining negative influences, not harming people.
He gives examples, right?
Yeah, Alex binding an image of a jealous secretary with blue cord to help a journalist. And that time on the Simon D. Show, he pricked an image on TV.
Controversial.
Very. Represented a journalist who'd exposed him. But Alex told Farrar later, grinning, it was only his conscience that I was pricking. Apparently they had a beer together later. Symbolic intent, not literal harm.
There's also a stand-in method for healing.
Yes, where another witch in the circle acts as a proxy for an absent patient. The healer works on the stand-in, who consciously thinks herself into the patient's state. Alex used it for diagnosis and cure, directing energy remotely.
And then creating actual spirits or elementals, that sounds advanced.
It is. Entities created for specific tasks like healing or as guardian angels. Farrar saw Alex build one for a fire element illness, storing it in a martini bottle. The genie in the bottle.
How does that even work?
Involves balancing elements on a tetrapolar magnet. That's an occult concept of balancing the 4 aspects or elements and impregnating the structure with the healing desire. He also had ways to banish stubborn spirits by dissolving them back into water in a bath.
And they could be co-created.
Apparently. He mentions Michael, a spirit Alex and someone named Paul created, still very much around, sometimes speaking through a tranced Alex, known for being friendly but often obstreperous, shows a collaborative side to some advanced magic.
Okay, let's go deeper into clairvoyance and healing. Alex Sanders believed everyone is potentially clairvoyant.
He did. Said it's just intuition, understood, trusted, and trained. Not mystical, but a trained skill.
But most people need help accessing it. He talks about triggers.
Exactly. Highly developed folks like Alex might not need aids, but most do. Triggers are catalysts to initiate a psychic process. Like Rorschach ink blots, he suggests they stimulate the trained intuition, bring unconscious stuff up. A focus point to quiet the conscious mind.
What kind of triggers did they use?
Lots of things. Crystal ball, patterns in molten lead, fire gazing, even froth on a beer glass. Alex apparently liked Guinness for its froth depth.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what Farrar reports. Alex said it's not the thing itself, but the symbols it evokes in your mind. Tarot cards are mentioned as much more complex triggers due to their rich symbolism. Alex even suggested a DIY crystal ball substitute, copper sulfate solution in a flask. Cheaper, peaceful, relaxing.
And psychometry, sensing things from objects.
Yes, sensing the psychic charge or history of objects. Or just physical contact, touching a hand as a direct conduit. Farrar thought good palmistry might actually be psychometry. Other triggers work by detaching of pendulums, candle flame staring, inducing trance to make inner symbols clearer.
Alex's untriggered readings sound incredible, though.
They do. Farrar details one where Alex saw an untidy ball of wool and a specific bunch of flowers. Chrysanthemums, snowdrops, violets, blue ribbon for someone.
And interpreted all that.
Yeah. The wool was the querent's life quest, now to be consciously completed. Blue ribbon meant authority issues at home. Snowdrops for purity in hard times. Violets for freshness and improving health home conditions. Deeply symbolic, yet uncannily spot on for the person. Showcase Alex's raw ability.
And he claimed to literally see things around initiates.
A little silver disc, glowing just above the stranger's head, he said. Perceived it as spiritual, not just astral. Farrar theorized this info comes from the collective unconscious, Jungian idea, but expanded, but also possibly from non-human or discarnate entities like Michael.
The spirit helper.
Right, Michael apparently provided concrete facts, not just feelings, sometimes without Alex consciously recalling it.
And Alex did that experiment to prove everyone has potential.
Yes. Asked Farrar to pick 3 unlikely people. Had them close their eyes, describe symbols, say who they felt they were for. One saw a silver chain for someone feeling trapped in an engagement. Another saw a whirlwind for someone pursuing realization. Farrar himself spontaneously saw a Tower of Babel of unfinished projects for someone else who confirmed it instantly, really convinced Farrar that the potential is widespread.
It's fascinating how central healing is to all this, not just a side practice, but major work.
Absolutely. Done in coven or alone. Pure witchcraft healing, Farrar says, includes herbalism, sympathetic magic, and directing will, maybe with simple aids like chords.
Herbalism is more than just knowing plant properties.
Much more. Involves the plant's occult significance, how it's prepared, and crucially, impregnation with the healing wish, like charging it with focused intent, similar to that genie in the bottle idea, directing energy through a natural channel.
And group healing seems really important.
Very. Cord magic was basic in Alex's coven. Everyone concentrates on wishes for themselves or others tying knots, reinforcing each other's power. He lists examples. Someone needing housing, someone praying for a sick sister, Maxine needing money, Farrar for his book. Shared focus creates powerful synergy.
Alex's diagnostic methods, they sound incredibly visual, almost like psychic x-rays.
They do. Creating the body by imagination, seeing a blue aura, looking for blotches indicating illness. His specific descriptions are striking. Cloudy in the head for brain tumors, a lobster or scorpion for cancer, dense black, a hairy anemone for rheumatism. Ugh. But he rarely predicted lifespan.
And he used psychometry for diagnosis, too.
Yes, handling objects like watches sent by patients. For mind sickness, he acted like a spiritual counselor, talking people through guilt, complexes, even convincing potential suicides of eternal life, addressing the spiritual root cause.
Laying on of hands is common, but Alex's description is unique.
He felt his hands get warm, radiate cigarette smoke or phosphorescence. Visualized cleansing the aura, giving pure energy. Claimed he could do it even if the patient didn't believe, neutralizing negativity.
And he connected it to the tree of life.
Directly. Visualized the tree on the patient's body, himself as the middle pillar, drawing power from Kether, the crown, divine source, down into manifestation, then flicking his hands outwards, shaking away the imperfections, linked healing across spiritual, mental, astral, physical levels. Even washed his hands ritually afterwards to purify and disconnect.
He also stressed how important the coven itself is for healing.
Argued a well-integrated coven, mixed ages, sexes, backgrounds, is more effective than one healer alone, especially now the extended family isn't always there. The coven fills that support vacuum, provides a collective energy field.
And he received messages in trance, often through Michael.
Yes, diagnoses, advice, predictions. Sometimes Alex didn't consciously remember them, but recipients confirmed their accuracy. Later, messages started coming without deep trance, like spirits briefly using his body, pushing him to his feet. Shows a growing integration.
Farrar shares some really wild healing stories from Alex.
They're quite remarkable. His daughter Janice's twisted foot doctor said wait till 14. Alex anointed it with oil, guided by spirit, and just twisted it forward. Almost perfect sense. A woman's skin clearing up spontaneously, stopping an asthma attack in 10 minutes with hands on the neck.
Some sound pretty controversial, too.
Oh, definitely. The wart story allegedly transferring 15 warts from a girl to a rude man in a pub. Direct magical intervention, for sure. Or the hospital dietitian with stomach cancer. He missed it at first, being too close emotionally, then spent 3 days and nights with hands glued to her feet, supposedly healing her completely. Powerful claims.
And healing is linked to initiation itself.
Yes. The Scottish engineer cured of a lifelong hernia right after his first degree. Alex said initiation connected him to cosmic forces, and the goddess cleared the blockage first thing. Or Dave and Tony Arthur's son, missing a finger joint. Alex asked Michael to work on it. Months later, a nail grew. Finger got longer. Michael did the work, Alex instigated. And the boy with mercury poisoning, treated via absent treatment, discharged quickly, tested clear later.
These stories are incredible, but they raise questions about responsibility, right? Especially the more interventionist ones, like the warts.
Farrar addresses that directly. He says a terrible responsibility rests on a magician. Black magicians exist, he acknowledges, but they're self-destructive because of the boomerang effect.
What goes around comes around, basically.
Exactly. Negative magic, harming others or violating free will, rebounds on the sender, often worse. Reversing black magic is supposedly agony. He cites Dion Fortune's work as evidence. It underscores that using power comes with huge ethical demands and accountability in the craft. It's about karma, cosmic law.
Okay, shifting focus slightly, where does Wicca fit in the wider occult world? Farrar links it strongly to the tarot and the tree of life. Calls them ancient blueprints.
Yes, inseparable from Western occultism. The tree of life from Kabbalah, 10 interconnected spheres, Sephiroth, mapping creation's flow out from source involution and the soul's path back, evolution. Farrar says, Wicca teaches levels of consciousness, essentially means Wicca opens up progressively higher Sephiroth.
Can you give a quick rundown of the spheres?
Very briefly. Top 3, Kether, Crown Source, Chakma, Wisdom Father, Binah, Understanding Mother, are the supernal pure spirit realm. Middle 6 include Tifereth, Beauty, Equilibrium, Christ Center, Netzach, Victory, Emotions, Nature, Hod, Glory, Intellect, Magic, Yesod, Foundation, Astral, Akashic Records. These are formative mental, emotional realms. Bottom is Malkuth, Kingdom, our physical world, manifestation, divination.
And Wiccan degrees relate to this.
He suggests early degrees work mainly on the bottom triangle, Malkuth, Yesod, Hod, Netzach, but the third degree brings the whole tree into play, symbolizing mastery of all levels.
And the tarot. More than just fortune-telling.
Much more. 78 cards, 22 major trumps, 56 minor. Not just divination, but a tool for occult study because of its universal symbolism. Each card triggers intuition, deeper insights into archetypes. Farrar mentions a friend getting frightened by her own accuracy using them intuitively, shows their power to unlock things.
Farrar also distinguishes between a witch and a magician. How?
He sees a witch as working naturally, largely instinctively, as a rule in a coven. More organic, group-focused, nature-based. A magician, he says, works methodically, with exact knowledge, as a rule alone. More systematic, intellectual, individual.
But the goal is the same.
Shared aim, spiritual development, expanding consciousness. And Alex Sanders, he says, bridged both, began as a witch and developed himself into a magician, a blend of instinct and discipline.
Alex was critical of some overly rigid occult orders.
Very. Warned against getting bogged down in expensive robes and trappings and intellectual snobbery, like the Golden Dawn eventually did. His view was practical. The basic circle is 4 candles and the furniture pushed back. It's the symbology you put into it that matters. Inner understanding and energy work trump outer show.
How do gods fit into magic compared to Wicca's god-goddess focus?
Magicians often invoke entities higher than human angels, spirits not just raw force. Gods are seen as both man-made images and channels for divine principles. Alex describing drawing down the moon, where Maxine becomes a living channel for the goddess, illustrates this. He also had this interesting approach to lower entities. Makes a friend of any spirit, gives them scope to move around, hoping they can be born or evolve. Compassionate, collaborative spirit work.
And Alex only used magic as a last resort.
Absolutely. Only when science or conventional methods failed. Exhaust all medical psychological options first. Fertility, abortion issues, explore normal roads first. But when he did intervene, his confidence was total, describing visualizing a pentagram crumbling in the womb for an abortion. Never fails, he claimed. But crucially, he said he absorbed the spirit, took responsibility. Deep accountability.
Let's touch on handfasting, the Wiccan union ceremony. What's its meaning?
It's flexible. Means what the couple choose to make it mean. Could be just a ceremonial announcement they're living together, or a deep soulmate bond meant to last through all subsequent reincarnations.
That soulmate idea sounds intense.
It ties into the legend of the goddess needing to return at the same time and place as the loved ones. Meet, know, remember, and love them again. Might involve clearing past life karma or consciously binding souls for the future. How long is it valid for? Well, traditionally, valid in the first instance for a year and a day. Continues unless they announce parting, which can be simple, shake hands, say goodbye. It's not binding forever unless they make that conscious soulmate decision, deliberately setting psychic forces in motion for multiple lives. That choice is entirely theirs.
And the ceremony itself?
Joyous, lots of flowers. Sometimes the circle is made of flowers, flower crowns, anointing with oil, wine, ritual kisses based on degree, traditional words like, know that it is in the decrees of the fates that ye are to be united. Jumping over a broomstick, then the high priestess sweeps away evil for a fresh start. So all these beliefs, these practices, they exist in a world that often just doesn't get it right. Which brings us back to public perception. How did people like Alexander's handle the misunderstandings, the responsibility, especially given the history?
Farrar gives some really frustrating examples of how the old image of witchcraft just sticks, how easily things get twisted. He talks about a summer solstice ritual in a quarry bonfire, naked rites, but nothing objectionable, he says, apart from the theology. 5 days later, local paper headline, Mystery at Quarry, Police in Naked Witches Probe. Wild rumors started, 10 cats with their throats cut for sacrifice, aimed at a coven whose main thing was healing.
Unbelievable. Just pure fabrication.
Totally. Another time, a witch had her purse snatched. Police got involved. Mundane stuff. Hours later, rumor was police battered on the door, searched the place, came away with confiscated drugs. His friend, who was strongly anti-drug, was really hurt by that lie.
Shows how ingrained the stereotypes are, how quickly misinformation spreads, fear, bias, sensationalism.
But despite all that, Alexander's flamboyance, which Farrar calls exasperating sometimes, actually seemed to work, even if it drew criticism.
Yeah, it's paradoxical. His showmanship made him vulnerable to irrelevant criticism, but Farrar saw him as a gifted court jester. His flair for publicity actually intrigued people, made them look past the surface, find out what lies behind.
So the controversy actually helped in a weird way.
Farrar thinks so. Believes Alex achieved more to clear the air on modern Wicca than anyone in this century. Even suggests his sheer magical achievement might top everyone.
Yeah.
Alex was only an enigma, Farrar says, if you chose to be baffled. His views were clear if you listened.
And he was modest about the really important stuff.
Apparently. Bragged about trivial things, but kept quiet about serious work, like staying up nights helping someone suicidal. Showed his focus was on genuine results, not ego for the big things. Maxine, his wife, is described as an archetypal witch, charged with wisdom from the dark earth. Instinctive, funny, fiercely protective of Alex. Her sharp criticism often came with encouraging predictions, complex but supportive.
And Farrar and his wife Janet started their own coven, taking Alex's advice.
Yes, kept it small, closed, focused on healing. A contrast to Alex's bigger coven, which was more like a training ground and winnowing floor for newcomers.
And what did Farrar personally gain from this whole journey into Wicca?
He found confirmation of those dormant areas of the human psyche that can be awakened. Felt a reawakened imagination, like cobwebs being blown out. A new pantheistic delight in how everything's connected.
So it worked for him, personally and philosophically.
Deeply. He found a workable philosophy or religion or craft. Praised its beautiful symbolism, satisfying ritual, civilized tolerance, deep roots, impressive successes. For him, it was a practical synthesis of individual needs, community interest, and universal meaning. A real validation.
And ultimately, all this wisdom, all this practice, boils down to one core ethical guideline, the Wiccan Rede.
Simple but profound. 8 words the Wiccan Rede fulfill. Okay. And at harm none, do what you will. But Farrar stresses, Wicca does not lessen personal responsibility. It makes larger demands on it.
It's not do whatever you want.
No, it's about conscious, ethical action, taking full responsibility for your choices. His example is powerful. Rejecting racist attitudes, even from respected Wiccans, reminding them they could be a negress in his next incarnation. Shows that compassion and self-awareness are fundamental, regardless of spiritual status.
What an incredible journey through Stewart Farrar's What Witches Do. We've gone from that skeptical journalist to a really deep understanding of a living, complex spiritual tradition. We've looked at Wicca as nature-based, ancient-rooted, seen its practical side, clairvoyance, healing, and really hit home the importance of personal experience and responsibility.
It's a stark contrast to the public image sometimes.
Absolutely. The nuance gets lost so often.
And what really resonates from Farrar's account, I think, is that this pursuit of knowledge, outer world, inner psyche, doesn't matter. It's fundamentally about self-discovery and ethical responsibility. It makes you question not just what's real, but what you choose to make real and how those choices echo outwards. So maybe the question for you listening is, what stands out to you about how these ancient ways are lived now? How might exploring those unseen parts of reality, but with that harm none ethos, shape your own understanding of what's possible in your own mind, your own life?
A truly fascinating deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this exploration. Hopefully you've gained more than just info, maybe a new lens to see the world and your own potential. Until next time, keep digging, keep questioning, and keep learning.